Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can stop in and get caught up in some of the latest news involving our Cleveland Browns. And as you can see, we are still with the Shedeurs, out of the studio for about the next week or so. And today, have a big special show for you planned. This is a viewer comments only show. Every topic inspired by viewer comments, except for Kenny Pickett and his hamstring. We'll get to that in a minute. Thank you to everyone who's liked our episodes, who has subscribed to the channel. And we're almost to 7,000. We might get there with the Shedeurs. We might be with the Shedeurs when we get there. And to everybody who gets their comments in the viewer comment section, that is what inspired this show. I've decided there's so many good ones, I can't fit them in every show. So it's like I wanted to just take one show. There was no practice yesterday. I didn't think anything was going to happen. I thought, hey, let's do a viewer comments. But of course, this is the Browns. Even when there's nothing going on, something's going on. But let's do this first. Let's give you an idea. We're going to talk about Kenny Pickett here after I tell you what. Now, every one of these topics inspired by the viewer comments. We got to find out what Deion Sanders said that is supposed to light the fire under Shedeur Sanders in his battle with Joe Flacco for quarterback one. We have someone who's confident in the Browns coaching staff, but another viewer says we should not trade Mr. Situational Grit. Well, it's going to be hard to trade him now, him and his bad hammy. Kenny Pickett to New Orleans, no way, no how. And then down in the actual viewer comments, we're still going to do actual viewer comments. A Ravens fan compares me to a chalkboard. Now listen to this, folks. Remember way back when I pulled this graphic out? The Kenny Pickett injury history. I've been telling you all along, the guy cannot stay on the field. Injured the hamstring, will be reevaluated at some point this week, according to reports. And so this was supposed to be a big day. We were supposed to find out the pecking order, but take a look. I mean, you could see last year he had those. We talked about the rib injury when he played, and they ran for 100 because Saquon ran for 167 yards in that game, and they, like then 2023. Look at that. I mean, that's a laundry list. And we're not done. Kenny Pickett injuries takes 2 graphics. So here's 2022 concussions. We talked about this: high ankle sprains, concussions, broken ribs. We did this show 2 months ago, folks, and talked about how Kenny Pickett is often injured, and here we are. We can't get out of the first week of training camp, and Kenny Pickett is already injured. That's why I've been telling you, Shedeur fans, just be patient. This is going to change quickly. And so Kenny Pickett now out of the mix. So leaves Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. And for all intents and purposes now, folks, this is a battle between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, because why not? I mean, you could still go with Flacco in the first 6 games, but hamstrings don't go away in an hour, in a day, in a week. Hamstrings linger, folks. And so if Kenny Pickett's got this thing, I mean, we'll see. But already, not even out of training camp, Kenny Pickett hurt. And so remember, today was supposed to be the big day. We're here. Okay, let's set the stage. Here's what's going on out there today. 11:20, coaches will talk. Bloomgren and Chad O'Shea. Stefanski will be talking about not only Kenny Pickett, but he was supposed to be talking about the big meeting yesterday. They had no practice yesterday. It was supposed to be the big quarterback meeting. They were going to come out and tell everybody who's getting more reps, who's going to go first, It was the big day. But now, I mean, you don't need it. Flacco's the veteran. You got Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. That's it. Because Kenny Pickett is on the shelf. He will be reevaluated later this week. Practice is at 2 today, 2 again tomorrow, and then on Wednesday they'll shift to the morning. But here we go, folks. This is where we're at, and boy, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, they are going to get their shots now for sure. Now, the original plan for today was viewer comments only. Every single topic of the day inspired by viewer comments. Now, I feel like the Kenny Pickett topic was inspired by me because I've been telling you for weeks, for months, that Kenny Pickett is an injury waiting to happen. I just didn't think it was going to be the first week of training camp. But I digress. So let's now, when we do viewer only, this was new. I made this up. When you're viewer only comment day, you get a graphic. And we'll start with @Lena5976, who says, only looking at this season right now, I'd like to see Flacco start. Well, there's a great chance of that happening now, the way Pickett has started off 2025. Then Shedeur, if he balls out in camp, which he is, which I am betting that he is. When Prime said, Flacco, he's my age, LOL. That was his subliminal message to Shedeur to blow him out. He's 40, respectively. He's old. As someone like myself, 20 years older than Flacco, no disrespect to his age, but I'm Team Gen X, LOL. But as an elite athlete, no way Shedeur's allowing old Flacco to outshine him in any way. And I honestly think now this is really just this is Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. That's where this battle is. And I will say this about Flacco, though. He's still, like, from everything I've seen and other things I've looked at, his arm is still a top 5 arm in the league. That guy has got a cannon for 40. And I love, like we talked about before, he's so calming. I can only imagine what that does for players in the huddle. He is such a calming presence. But other than that, like, he is not the long-term solution. Kenny Pickett playing for his NFL life, and now he's hurt. So this is already a two-horse race between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. If the plot couldn't thicken anymore. All right, let's move on. Temporious. 1, I am confident in the Browns coaching staff. Might be the only one. That being said, wait, hold on, here comes the but. Kevin needs to show enough flexibility to pivot at times to fix downward trends, not only in the game itself, but also in the season at large. And I've been saying this forever. I'll go back to Baker Mayfield. There was no reason for him to keep going out there with that bad arm. Everybody could see it. He couldn't throw. Deshaun Watson, from the first snap he ever took, it was worm burners and air balls. And we had to sit here for 3 years and watch that going on. Never took him out because they give him a bag. They just kept sticking him out there. We keep seeing that over and over and over and over again. Now it'll be the situation. It'll be with Flacco. I don't know. He may not start the year. But, I mean, with the 2 rookies behind him, if Pickett can't get it together with this hamstring, he's going to lose so much time now. I mean, he's trying to learn this offense. He is going to fall behind. So I'm leaning Flacco now has got to be your front runner to start week 1 against the Bengals. I still say they're going 3-3 if Flacco's there, and then you got the rookies there. This is wide open now, folks. Anything can happen now that I just don't see how Pickett's going to recover from this. I just don't see it. Speaking of Pickett, TS3709, New Orleans doesn't want or need Pickett, especially now that he's got a bad hammy. Sure, Moore said he's matured, nice. But after passing on Shedeur, if they bring in a guy who couldn't beat him out, there's only going to be a revolt. And it's now there's just more to it than that. I mean, with this injury, there goes our chances of trading him. Because with his injury history, who is going to want him? I mean, the guy can't even get through training camp. So that's where we stand. I just don't now. It just takes care of everything. Like any trade possibility, his chances of I think QB1 have disintegrated at this point. I just don't see unless it's super minor and he's back by the end of the week. If he misses more than a week or two, if he gets into the second week, he's going to be cooked. There's no way he's going to be able to catch up. There's just no way. And what's ironic is he came off a couple of pretty solid days. And so, that's it. It is, it's now just, we just kept telling you folks, the situation is going to change quickly. Now, the Browns were off yesterday, but there are no off days for the viewer comments. This is a viewer comments only show. Those were the 3 topics that were inspired by viewer comments. And now let's get to the normal viewer comments. And CLGL3810 says, as a Ravens fan, hearing the best team in the NFL, the Browns, you know how I like to say the Browns are the best team in the NFL? I always start the show. This is where you can get caught up on the latest news about the best team in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns. Well, CLGL says, when they hear that, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Listen, Ravens fans, just let me have. We're Believe Land, baby. This is Believe Land. That's why we got to believe. We're turning it around. Now that Pickett's out of the picture, look out. That could be the best thing that ever happened to us. All right. Greatness, me, 070. Toughest schedule you can ask for with divisional and non-divisional contenders from last year. It's a gauntlet. What's the purpose of playing Flacco or Pickett? Well, now who knows if Pickett will even be there. If you don't expect to win, where's the logic in that? What better way to figure out what you have than just rip the Band-Aid off and deal with it? So, I mean, there's a chance this happens now where it's just like give it to the rookies because all we were hearing is they thought Kenny Pickett could be their reclamation project, their this year's Sam Darnold and all this. But I kept telling you the guy gets hurt all the time. And like I said, I thought he'd at least make it to the season. Can't even make it to the season. So to me, Pickett out. You're done. Laxalus77. Do not trade Shedeur. Trade Pickett for a running back and keep Shedeur for future plans. Well, here's what's going to happen. We're not going to be able to trade Pickett. And we're not trading Shedeur. So you don't have to worry about any of that, Laxalus. And then we're going to end here with Dambala Sports. This was great. Talking about the running back situation. He says, I'm ready to suit up. I'm 6 foot, 255. He wants to play running back. All right, I mean, we could probably use him. But he also doubled down and said wide zone is good for play action. If you can get the wide zone working, it forces linebackers to flow and leaves a lot open in the passing lanes. I say this. Sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and he's 6 foot, 255. So let's get him to the equipment room and get him a helmet. Let's go. Thanks for the take, Dambala Sports. All right, that's going to do it. Now listen, look, we don't need any more quarterbacks hurt, but this is the best thing that could have ever happened. If you wanted to see the two rookies battle it out for a real shot at QB1, your wish just came true. If this Pickett hamstring thing lasts longer than a week or two, it's could be Flacco to start the season and then turn it over to the rookies. So that's where we're leaning right now. And hamstrings linger, so that's where we're at. Told you, folks. Even when there's nothing going on, there's something going on when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. All right, we'll have more tomorrow. Have fun today. We'll see. It's changing. It's ever changing with this team. All right, go Browns. We'll see you next time.